like to confine into non-evidence-based domain, and that is what you call a spiritual domain. And to be very honest, in this domain, I find a very little scope for listening, and they have a role to play, but or teaching somebody. It's something which is like I heard a good talk, doesn't make much sense to me, then what kind of person I am. And that's why these slides are just a destination, direction, or lamppost. If you want to go according to this, it says movie 4204 is a navigation system, but it doesn't mean that you are in Novi. So my message is that when you talk of positive health and in the spiritual way, what she talked about, equanimity and mindfulness and presence of living in the present, then it's a path one has to lay for himself. The path is so narrow, no two persons can walk on this path. At the same time, when you want to rewalk after some time, maybe the pebbles would be at a different place. This whole area is full of terminologies, and we misuse terms like anything. One of the common things is thinking and feeling. Thinking is, we do constantly, over 95% of us are thinking all the times with clutter in our mind. So much we have the burden of the whole world on us, and that is the job of the mind, which it does, which is unfettered. If you don't really control your mind, you will be thinking all the time with no space for you around. But feeling is something which is related to your consciousness. And this is one particular thing which differentiates whenever you are in a conflicted situation, at least for me, when I am at a crossroad to take a decision, I believe my feeling rather than the thought. I think my talk is very little original except for what I do, but is heavily influenced by the masters like Byron Katie, or for that matter, Buddha, or so many masters. And when this is the best sentence I like, Smita talked about the thoughts, and thoughts are the root cause of trouble, if you see, because if they are negative thoughts and they lead to all kind of cascading events. So one indication is if a thought hurts, don't believe it, and question your thoughts all the time, because they are creation of your mind. And how mind works is that most of your presence is either loaded with the past memories or future expectations. But this is true that your future is created by your present moment. And somehow or the other, if you can learn to keep your past off, I don't say that past events or your experience is not useful, but getting into the past or future, because mind you, if you are worried about a future astrological forecast, if it has to happen, it would be present for that point in time. Similarly, if something is bothering you which happened in the past and gives you guilt, it happened in that present moment. Easier said than done, but you have to think about it. There is a sense in the blankness, and it creates the contrast. Now, we are all the times focusing on noises. Any honking horn or loud music gives us a feeling of annoyance that what has happened. But mind you, the origin of this noise is from nothing, or what you call the peace or silence. and disappearance of this sound would be in silence. These are two dualities you have to. I would say that if you are on the path of the spiritual domain to stay in good conscious health, focus more on the space or what you call the silence. Acceptance is another big thing, because most of the time we resist what is happening, and that creates a conflicting situation. If you can accept things as they are, mind you, acceptance doesn't mean that if a bad thing has happened, that is your life situation. So you have to differentiate between life and life situation. Acceptance would mean that you may be, there is a difference between acceptance and happiness. What we say is that there is no need, word like happiness doesn't make me happy, because if you are happy, you are going to be depressed. I would like to call it being in peace with the things, whether they are good or not. And Buddha rightly said, even dukkha or even happiness is also a dukkha, or is also trouble. And silence is something you can learn. And silence is not just silence, it's the inner quietude I'm talking about. And when you see silence, you can see things beyond their form and shape. I can guarantee you wouldn't have seen a tree as it is, because all the times you're focused on something like the beauty of the flowers and leaves. But if you go through them, then you enter the realm of the consciousness. There is yet another thing, which is Eckhart Tolle, is another my favorite author. He says that I'm reminded of a friend of mine, and I would be intrigued about him, that he would never say no to anything. Never say no to anything, even the things have not happened. Hypothetically, he was with me watching a movie and somebody said, tomorrow 3 o'clock, I saw you going there. He said, yes, yes. So I asked him, he's no more. I asked him, why do you say so? He said, for two reasons I say so. That I want to be comfortable by not getting in an argument. At the same time, other person feels happy about it. It kills the next question. We struggle with two times of time. One of them is the clock time. Another time is the psychological time. Clock time, you have to have schedule. If you become timeless, you can't keep pace. I wouldn't have been here for this webinar on time. But what I resist to do is psychological time. We slip gradually into, we think of 3 o'clock, I have an appointment, and then we slip into what is going to happen, what would be hypothetical conversation, what would be the fallout of it. So the correct thing is say yes, yes, but thing would be very important. And she's already talked about, Smita has already talked about the mental functioning and the meditation part of it. And how do you stay equanimous? It's not really. There are so many ways to stay in present. And the one of the things, perhaps you know, that why steep rock climbers or dangerous hitchhikers or mountaineers do that is because they have no other option than to stay in present, to practice stay in present, because every moment is crucial for them. They cannot relax, they grapple with life and death, and that is one of the way to increase concentration. As regards to the practices to stay, there are, I said that there is no evidence of what I am talking about. Evidence is surrogate marker of your staying in peace. But there is an evidence on MRI that amygdala for those people who stay in presence is definitely glows up better than the person. Now, when you talk of, this is a slide from one of my friends who is a big bonsai collector, one of the biggest I have seen. And she has created this environment through a bonsai which gives me peace. So what I can say that creating an environment is very, very important, and the field of epigenetics, which Smita talked about, is that even you should not blame your genes. Genes can change with your lifestyle changes, with the environment you interact with. This is one of the last slides. I love that slide. First half of the slide is the reality. This is as it is, and rest is a reflection. We live in duality. This is our true consciousness. But we are engrossed in the drama going around and forget ourselves. If you ask me, you have to do nothing. You have everything. Only thing what you need to do is research yourself and find true consciousness to stay healthy. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.